ChatGPT Plus is free for college students through May. Here's the thing. You've got a lot to do between now and then. Studying for finals, writing papers, trying to keep your life on track, and ChatGPT can help with all of it. It can quiz you for your econ exam, make a study guide from your French notes, plan out your meals and study breaks. It can get really specific on how you like to learn. It can even help you come up with ways to stop procrastinating. So from now until summer break, take advantage of all the ways ChatGPT can make your life easier. Restrictions apply.
The Other Side of Midnight.
77 WABC.
Local Spotlight.
Good morrow, everyone. This is The Other Side of Midnight on 77 WABC. I'm Frank Morano. Last week, New York City's Panel for Education Policy voted overwhelmingly to approve a $17 million five-year contract with Pearson to digitize the specialized high school admissions test, better known as the SHSAT. This decision, made after months of uncertainty and intense public debate, ensures that the entrance exam for the city's elite public high schools will remain in place, albeit in a new computerized format. The stakes for this vote were high. Without a contract in place, city officials argued the test mandated by state law for 3 of the 8 specialized high schools and traditionally used by the others could not be administered. That would have left incoming freshman classes at some of the city's best schools in limbo. Critics of the contract raised concerns about equity, the cost, and the logistics of moving to a computerized test. They pointed out that Black and Latino students are underrepresented in these schools, and they questioned whether Pearson's track record justified the expense. On the other hand, proponents argued that the shift to a computerized test aligns with broader trends in standardized testing and that delaying or rejecting the contract would have caused chaos for students and families that are already counting on this pathway to opportunity. This isn't the first time that the SHSAT has been at the center of a political and cultural battle. Former Mayor Bill de Blasio attempted to scrap the test in 2018 to diversify these schools, but that effort failed. Last week's debate echoed that tension, with parents and community members passionately advocating on both sides. Now, here's my take. I'm glad this vote happened, and I'm glad these tests are staying. These specialized high schools are working. They provide a vital lifeline for talented students, many from immigrant and working-class families, to access a world-class education. The SHSAT isn't perfect, but it offers an objective metric in a system where subjectivity often creates more inequity. Instead of trying to tear these schools down, we should be building more schools like them. Let's expand opportunities for students across all boroughs, rather than dismantle what's already successful. If there are concerns about diversity, address them without dismantling what's working. Enhance test prep access, expand feeder programs, or create additional public high schools that are similarly great, more specialized high schools. I think that's a great thing. But let's not undermine a system that has changed so many lives for the better. I am the brother and the son of proud Brooklyn Tech graduates. Why dismantle that whole system?
Beam me up!
To be continued.
The Other Side of Midnight.
77 WABC.
Local Spotlight.
Good morrow, everybody. This is The Other Side of Midnight on 77 WABC. I'm Frank Morano. It's hard to believe anyone in Governor Kathy Hochul's orbit thought this was a good idea. On Sunday, she posted on Twitter to tout declining subway crime and rising ridership, attributing the progress to her efforts. That might have been fine if not for one glaring issue. The tweet came just hours after a woman was horrifically burned alive on an F train in Brooklyn. The timing was more than bad. It was downright idiotic. The city had barely begun processing the brutal attack, and yet the governor was patting herself on the back. It showed a stunning lack of awareness and empathy. People are angry, and rightly so. A tragedy of this magnitude deserves a moment of silence, not a self-congratulatory tweet. Now, to be fair, not everything in the subway safety plan has been a misstep. The cameras Hochul championed did play a key role in this case. The NYPD quickly released footage of the suspect, and within hours, New Yorkers identified him, leading to his arrest. That's an undeniable success, and the cameras should serve as both a deterrent to crime and a valuable tool in solving cases. But here's the problem. When you pair real progress with tone-deaf communication, you undermine your own credibility. Hochul's tweet was like someone bragging about fire safety while the house next door is engulfed in flames. It made her look out of touch and, worse, indifferent to the very real pain New Yorkers were feeling. This incident also raises broader questions about leadership and priorities. The suspect in this horrific crime was reportedly a recent migrant, renewing concerns about how unvetted individuals are entering our communities. The governor's office has yet to address that aspect. If Governor Hochul wants to lead New York through these challenging times, she needs to do more than post statistics. She needs to listen, to read the room, and to show she understands what ordinary New Yorkers are experiencing. We're not asking for perfection, but we do expect a little, and maybe, just maybe, a better social media team. As for the rest of us, we'll continue riding the subway, hoping the cameras, the National Guard, and the NYPD make a real difference, but we'll also keep demanding accountability from leaders who seem all too eager to spin a narrative, even in the shadow of tragedy. In the case of Governor Hochul and other politicians, I think what they should really do is pause before tweeting. Clearly, they knew this was going to invite a negative comparison. So why put that out there right after such a horrific attack? I don't understand it.
Beam me up!
To be continued.
The Other Side of Midnight.
77 WABC.
Local Spotlight.
Once again, it's time to talk about congestion pricing in Manhattan. New York's latest great debate that just got the green light from two federal judges. For now, the tolls on car trips below 60th Street are moving forward despite lawsuits from a slew of plaintiffs aiming to slam the brakes. If ever there was a time for a judge somewhere to step up and delay this until at least January 20th, it's now. Why January 20th? Because Donald Trump, if he takes office, could stop this plan dead in its tracks, and frankly, we should give him the chance. Think about what's happening here. This isn't just a policy to reduce traffic. It's an economic sledgehammer aimed at the everyday New Yorker. We're talking about charging people up to $23 a trip to drive into Manhattan. I realize they're starting it at a much more reduced price of $9, but it's going to go up ultimately after 3 years. That's on top of sky-high gas prices, tolls, and all the other costs of living in this city. And for what? To funnel billions into an MTA that can barely keep the trains running on time, let alone manage its finances responsibly? The logic is that this toll will push more people towards public transit, cutting emissions and easing gridlock. But the reality? It's going to punish working-class families, small businesses, and anyone who needs a car for their livelihood. Plus, let's not pretend this is going to solve climate change. The congestion pricing revenue might go to some green initiatives, sure, but it's also likely to vanish into the bureaucratic ether. Meanwhile, Governor Hochul is selling her Cap and Invest program as the solution to New York's climate woes. A plan to charge corporate polluters and reinvest that money into green energy sounds good on paper, but even that comes with its own issues, like rising costs for consumers as businesses pass the buck. New York is already paying the price for climate policies that don't always deliver. Extreme weather damages, surging insurance rates, rising food prices. We're feeling it. But piling on more costs through programs like congestion pricing is not the answer. What we need is leadership that finds real solutions without breaking the backs of working-class New Yorkers. So here's the call to action. We need a judge, somewhere, anywhere, to hit pause on this toll scheme. Delay it long enough to let a new administration, the Trump administration, step in and reevaluate the whole thing, because New Yorkers deserve better than to be guinea pigs in a policy experiment that's destined to fail, especially when this is being crammed down our throats in an election that the Democrats just lost. And they didn't even put this out there as what they were going to do until after Election Day. It's completely dishonest.
Beam me up.
To be continued.
The Other Side of Midnight.
77 WABC.
Local Spotlight.
In the world of sports, there's no greater honor a team can bestow on a player than retiring their number. It's a gesture that says, you weren't just a great player, you were part of our soul. And for the New York Mets, no one embodies that sentiment more than David Wright. This July, the Mets will retire Wright's iconic number 5, and for good reason. Wright wasn't just the face of the franchise during his 14-year career. He was the heart and conscience of a team that, let's face it, had seen its share of ups and downs. Through it all, Wright was the steady hand, the constant, and the guy who reminded fans what loyalty and class look like in professional sports. Think about this. Wright played his entire career with the Mets. That's rare in today's game, where trades, free agency, and the lure of bigger paychecks often pull players away. Only a handful of Mets have ever done that. It's a testament to his loyalty, not just to the team, but to the fans and to the city of New York. But it wasn't just his longevity or even his talent, though let's not forget how talented he was. Wright holds franchise records for hits, doubles, RBIs, and runs scored. He's a 7-time All-Star, a 2-time Gold Glove winner, and for much of his career, he was the best third baseman in baseball. Yet what really set him apart was the way he carried himself, on and off the field. When injuries derailed his 30s, Wright handled it with grace. He fought to come back, and even though his body wouldn't let him play the way he once did, he gave fans 2 final emotional games in 2018 that were a masterclass in dignity. He left the game the way he played it, with heart, humility, and a deep respect for the sport. For baseball fans, this ceremony is about celebrating the most accomplished position player in Mets history. But for non-fans, it's a reminder of the values Wright represented: loyalty, hard work, resilience, and the idea that being great isn't just about numbers on a stat sheet. It's about how you make people feel. Starting this summer, David Wright's number 5 will hang above Citi Field forever, alongside legends like Tom Seaver and Mike Piazza. It's a fitting tribute to a man who wasn't just a great Met, he was one of us. And for anyone who's ever cheered from the stands or dreamed of something bigger than themselves, David Wright's story is proof that sometimes good guys do finish first. My only regret is that he couldn't have played longer. But for these injuries, he was young enough and talented enough, he could have played another 5 or 6 years. It's a real shame. After this, though, I do think the Mets need to pump the brakes on retiring any new numbers. We've gotten a little carried away with the number retiring. I'm not saying anyone who's gotten their number retired isn't worthy, but we got a lot of numbers retired now. We're almost becoming the Yankees.
Beam me up.
To be continued.